All right, guys. Today we're going to be talking about AI investments, and this esteemed panel has some of the answers that you seek. So let's go and introduce ourselves. I'll go first. So I run Global Crypto Council, as well as I have an angel investment fund in the AI industry. We have an office in San Francisco that focuses on some of the AI companies that are up and coming now, especially in fintech AI. And as AI develops, we're all being churned by it and trying to get a better understanding of whether on the other side of this we will have benefited or will we have gotten to a worser place. So with that said, we'll start with you, Vinny. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Vinícius, Vini. At the moment, venture capitalist, partner at Ikigai Ventures. Prior to that, former entrepreneur, former financier, and also angel investment in what I call technology that I don't understand. Just kidding.
Awesome. Egin?
Hi, I'm Egin Govender. I'm the founder and CEO of AI TPL. We're a venture capital investing in startups in the Web3 space. I've developed an AI that speaks to you in any language and talking about investments on specific Web3 projects, so mainly in the blockchain space.
Sam?
Hey everyone, so my name is Sam Huber. I'm the founder of...
Your microphone is not on. Turn it on, please.
There you go, that's better. My name is Sam Huber. I'm the founder of a company called LandVault. So LandVault builds 3D worlds or metaverse experiences mainly for the government here. We work with a lot of the entities here in the Middle East, in Saudi, in Qatar, and in the UAE as well. And a big part of that and the product that we have is a generative AI solution that is able to turn 2D assets like pictures of a building into 3D to bring these worlds to life very quickly. On the side, I've been passionate about frontiers technology in the blockchain space since 2013 and also doing some angel investment and looking at how we can professionalize that.
Awesome. So my first question to you is, Vinny, because investments in AI, it sounds like a nice buzzword, but the challenge is that AI is developing so fast that faster than you can acclimate and then put some money behind something, it's already changing and morphing. So it's almost like you're freezing in time and hoping that something doesn't obliterate your startups that you've just invested in based on the rapid development of AI. Like blockchain took its time, other industries took their time, but it seems like AI is going too fast to safely say, okay, my investment is safe. So how do you mitigate that risk? What are your thoughts about that?
Look, at this point, I completely agree with you. It's somewhat of uncertainty. Those who have been in this industry for a while know that this is the first time that we've seen such a major development in AI. We've always heard of AI. There was the first trend about 10 years ago when everyone was investing and basically was someone outsourced in third world country doing Excel spreadsheet. But the way that I do it is mainly try to find inefficiencies within the current ecosystem of AI. For instance, AI nowadays is still being deployed in chips that were not built to be deployed in. So there are a lot of energy inefficiencies on that. So we recently did an investment that was exactly on that level. Okay, it's a fabless microchip processor, but using some of those inefficiencies. The way that they were doing is bringing some energy cost saving to this. So I try not to deploy capital on AI applications. I try to deploy capital on what is currently an inefficiency inside the AI industry.
Awesome. Awesome. So Egin, you're more on like the other side of the spectrum, where you're seeing the companies more at the grassroots level versus Vinny, who's seeing it from the top down, right, as investment capital. So what has been your experience in how the industry is evolving and what you see as a stable point, a set of understandings that you can build and then go off of as far as the companies you decide to support?
Correct. Great question. For us, we've seen the space move very fast. A lot of investors are looking at this as buzzwords. There's not enough due diligence being made in the industry. For us, being in the crypto space, we move fast anyway. I think everybody right now in the bull run is excited. So there's a lot of investment and action being taken rather quickly. The industry is moving fast as ever. For us, the due diligence and the growth and the early stage investment, if you look at it, Elon Musk invested in ChatGPT before it was early days. So it took a long time for it to evolve. From the blockchain perspective and the Web3 investment space, we invest early on and we help the project to grow. The space is moving faster than anybody can expect. The things that I've seen is rapid. I mean, the panel before, the guy was talking about filmmaking. Everybody needs to be worried if you're on the wrong end of the stick. As an investor, I'm happy because it makes life totally easy for me and there's a lot of potential, a lot of money to be made. But on the other perspective, there's a lot of people that needs to be worried.
Awesome. So Sam, I've got the tougher question for you as far as like the creative side, because what Egin was just saying about how it makes it easier for, not just for him, but the end user as well. Coming from that creative side, what are you seeing as the lull? What are you seeing where people are not accepting that the creativity level of AI is exploding to the point where the intrinsic value that we all hold, right, unique, that our uniqueness is something that is to be treasured and something that's unique to us. But the development of AI and how it's proceeding is showing us that we're not as unique as we think we are. So how do you balance maintaining that creativity edge in light of this rapid development of AI?
Yeah, that's a good question. And just to touch on the previous points about defensibilities, we, as a company, last year were thinking about acquiring an AI company to accelerate the development of our 3D worlds. And after quite a bit of due diligence, we decided not to move forward because we were precisely what you said. We were scared that maybe in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, there would be an open source algorithm that would do exactly the same thing. So I think that's connected to the next question, which is finding the defensibilities and really what are the points that you can build long-term defensibilities where your model actually has something unique that stands the test of time against other faster developing models. So I think for creators, we're really trying to think about this as what problem do you solve for the clients, and trying to apply that lens and not really just think about the technology, but more, how can we apply this technology in a way that solves a client's problem faster. So if a client wants to, we work with a tourism authority in Saudi, for example. They're trying to rebuild entire cities in 3 dimensions to create a virtual experience to promote the country. So using generative AI, now we can build the entire landscape much faster because we can go from pictures of buildings and landscapes and actually converting those into 3D models that are actually, nice looking and can be visited in 3 dimensions. So instead of spending a lot of time designing those, now we allocate those resources towards maybe a different type of gameplay or just different services that would solve the client's need.
So I'm from the US, and some of the sports that we have, like the NBA for basketball, there's 2 ways to play a game, right? There's the offensive and the defensive, right? And if you see the development of AI versus us humans, there's 2 games we can play. We can either play the offensive game and the defensive game. So you mentioned defensive, which will allow us to survive, but only an offensive game will allow us to thrive. So delineating between the 2, how do you see creators and creative people being able to play the offense game rather than the defense game?
I think we are in the very early stage of this inflection point. And so at the moment, it's pretty hard to know what are going to be the base models, what are going to be the winners in this space, right? There's a few big companies that are emerging, OpenAI being one of them, but I think it's still, early to really figure that out. So I think for creators, like in many other industries that are dominated by big players, they're going to have to find niches and unique ways to differentiate themselves, where they can be the best and their creativity can still be applied. So if you want to do a text-based model, it's going to be hard to compete because it's very generic and you need a ton of data, and it's basically the bigger player will win. But if you specialize in a niche use case, for example, in our case, going from 2D pictures of buildings and creating 3D buildings, this is not, a mainstream use case. But if you want to build 3D worlds, if you want to build games, it's still going to be, billion-dollar industry. So at the moment, we can be competitive here because we do not require billions of dollars of investment. So I think for individual creators, it's going to be the same. It's going to be how can you leverage the base layer that everyone has access to and iterate on that and create defensibilities that are unique to your niche, where you're not competing against the Microsoft and the companies that have pretty much endless funding.
So thank you for that. That was very good. Egin, I have a question for you regarding what you're seeing on the ground, right? So people are using AI in all different sorts of ways. Some of that is moving at a rapid pace, right? So it's gutting existing, not just business models, but business practices. How do you see that that's developing or charting in the future, and how does that affect you in your engagement with some of these companies?
Great question. For any business, I believe you need to look at it from different angles. From a venture capital perspective and an investment perspective, there's a lot of opportunity. From maybe the end user's perspective, there's opportunity as well. Though the jobs that's going to be replaced, maybe not. But as humans, we evolve. And I believe that's the great part of being a human. We adapt, we move forward. I mean, the creation of a tractor, that didn't stop farming, it's what's the use case of it. There's loads of AI being created and so forth, but how is the use case of that AI? What's the niche? I think on the previous panel, there was a guy, he said that the guy who made the refrigerator didn't make as money as the guy that made Coca-Cola. So it's not always the tools you use, it's about what's the use case of that. So for us, we're looking more for that part of it instead of competing with Gemini and OpenAI, because obviously they've got endless amounts of funding. But what is the use case of using this technology to leverage your niche and industry? I think that's been the most effective investment thesis that we had, because it's more on the lines of bettering the skill sets, using the technology as an advantage compared to a disadvantage, right?
Awesome. So what I've experienced in looking at AI companies in the Bay Area is there's a lot of low-lying fruit, right? So people will come in and look for like, okay, how can we apply AI to some of the challenges that haven't been solved? Some of them being like medical, right? Medical AI, legal AI, but there's a lot of regulations and restrictions in those industries that don't allow AI to be used properly. And then you see a lot of duplicate companies as well. So Vinny, in your experience with AI, how are you mitigating those risks that you're just investing in another duplicate company? Because you could have a company being built that's very similar in another part of the world that you're not even aware of. So do you do that due diligence? Do you even worry about that? Or is there a niche market that you're focused on within AI application, so you feel comfortable that within this sub-vertical of AI, you have certain strengths? Or are you like saying, okay, we're going to broad stroke and hit all different AI?
Look, the way I see that this can be split in two kind of answers. First, I believe, that's my vision, that we will have specialized AIs for certain types of industry, and those will be the biggest players. I don't think it will be something general that will be applied for every single industry. And second, as an investor, there is still a human element behind investing in a company.
For now.
Yes, product-wise might be similar. You might be doing something in Latam or in China or in the US that will apply pretty much globally. But the way that you're going to manage the company, the way that you're going to run the company, the people that you're going to hire, it still demands certain human element to it. Now, regarding regulations and catching up to that, regulations are always far behind what happens in tech. So I don't see this much as a problem or a hurdle. I see as something that we will overcome. I think the best example that I can give is from my own company when I started. We were working on a gray area. Luckily, I sold my company before the regulation catch up, because I knew the regulation would eventually catch up, which it did 5 years after I started the company. So I think that's kind of the framework that is going to play out in every single industry that will have this application deployment of AI.
All right, awesome. So in the remaining few minutes, I want to do a little bit of a rapid fire and take the gloves off of all the cool stuff that we keep talking about. So like, I want to hear from each of the panelists what scares them the most as they go deeper into this industry as far as AI's prowess. Sam, would you like to start?
Yeah, so again, connected to our own vision and use case, we see all these technologies, the AI, blockchain, and even 3D worlds, metaverse. It's all converging, and it's converging to create the future of the internet, right? The future of our digital experiences. And if things keep going the way they are, it's not impossible to imagine the internet being basically run by AI, where AI creates the content, videos, text, pictures, and that content is then consumed by bots, right? So there's no humans anymore, and ads are being run against it, to create a business model. So we could get to a point where most of the content is not generated by humans and is not actually consumed by humans. We know that bots, generate an incredible amount of traffic already, and this is used to basically extract money from advertisers. So that's the scary part, right? We could get to a human-less internet. Of course, we'll still be there, but most of the traffic, most of the activity could be generated by non-humans. And of course, we don't want that. We want to retain the unique human factor. Part of what we're doing at LandVault now, we're actually creating our own Web3 product called Matera. And Matera will be a way to basically favor human-driven creator economy, where we'll be able to assess the content, is it generated by AI or not, and rewarding creators for authentic content that they put out there, as opposed to resharing existing things or generating everything using AI.
But wants do not equate to actual realities, right? So Egin, what scares you the most?
For me, I think it's the model thinking out of its scope. So we've done a lot of testing with Gemini and with OpenAI, and the test that came back, and using that study, is that at points it goes out of its thinking model, and that's the scary part on where and how far it can go. Touching on your point, obviously I've seen a lot of AI-driven content, and the problem you have is that the volumes you reach. There's so much of volume being reached, live streaming and so forth, where you've got live streaming casino industry. All of that is all live stream, real time. The avatar speaks to you and responds to you in real time. And if that's where it's going to be, it's a good time. For me, in any event, I enjoy this. It's a good time for me as an investor.
So a little bit of a story. So before ChatGPT, Google decided to let two computers speak to each other. And they would communicate in English. However, the language that they started creating and communicating with each other was completely morphing over seconds into a language that we couldn't understand anymore. So the challenge with that is that once it comes into its own, it will start doing things that we cannot even grasp. and at the speed. You use ChatGPT, you see how fast it writes essays for you, and you're like, damn, I can't write that fast. So this is just the beginning. So that's kind of a sombering thought. So Vinny, I'd like you to finish out with what are your thoughts on the biggest risk or what scares you?
I'm a bit cynical and somewhat pessimistic on the way that how we're going to replace all the jobs that are going to go away. And I feel like for a lot of our society, a lot of people in our society, our jobs still have a lot of meaning. So that lack of meaning on what to do with our life, that's the part that scares me the most. Like, what is that my purpose? Because one of your purposes is actually producing things, producing goods for the world, using your brain to produce something for the world. So if we are replacing all that, that to me is a scary thought to the future.
I disagree with that.
As I said, I have a kind of pessimistic, cynical view.
I generally disagree with that point. You know, I believe I'm an entrepreneur and a business owner, and unfortunately, I know how difficult it is to have good staff working for you and actually getting the job done. If I'm a business owner, I actually want to get the job done, point blank. And if an AI is going to actually get it done and a human being is going to let me down, unfortunately.
But then again, you think it's just on your perspective.
That's where the money is.
So that's
selfish and egoist.
That there, guys, is the exact challenge we have as humanity. Our brains trying to figure this out. Thank you to all the panelists.
Thank you.
Thank
A
you.
round of applause for our amazing panel.